India Inc. comes to you this week from a village in Haryana. We're here as part of this special season on corporate social responsibility to do an episode on the Bharti Mittal group, who, as one of India's newer companies, are new to the business of corporate social responsibility. They began to take it seriously only in 2006, but between then and now have built more than 200 rural schools which attempt to bring a higher standard of education to rural India. So remarkable has been their success in this area that they recently were counted among 4 Indian companies in a list that Forbes magazine brings out on companies that do especially well in the field of corporate social responsibility. It is now recognized that possibly the biggest flaw in India's development has been the failure to invest in our human capital. In just over 10 years, India will overtake China as the country with the largest population in the world. This will include the largest number of young people of any country. If these young people are healthy and educated, they are India's greatest asset. If not, we face a future nightmare of social tensions. Why do you think that India didn't invest in human capital?
Well, to my mind, I think we should have done that. And that is where I want to make a point, where we stand at the crossroads today. Rather than looking at why have we not done, we should look at what should be done in the future. And to my mind, a public-private partnership program is absolutely important. The government must provide the platform for the private sector to come and be partners and bring in their own management skills and execution skills to ensure that quality education goes to the last of that child who cannot go to school or who may not end up going to school.
As an Indian and as somebody who's been concerned with these things, this young population that we have, and what you said is quite correct, that if they're not educated and not healthy, they become a real problem for the country. And if they are, then they become the greatest wealth that we have. How do you see it going? Truthfully, do you see us overcoming our difficulties and winning this battle or losing?
I would say what I see today on the ground, there are initiatives and activities which are happening. But are they happening in a holistic manner all across the country? Since I have not traveled all across the country into the rural hinterland, it will be very difficult for me to make a sweeping statement, but maybe a lot more needs to be done. All the villages where we have our schools, you should see the community participation. The parents come in the morning and they are in awe what is happening because they have not seen this type of education, this type of teaching. The midday meal are being cooked by the women in the village. So we pay 5 rupees a meal per day per child, and she brings the ration, she brings everything. She gives good quality food because it is the children of the village. Unlike a contractor who will try to compromise on the quality of the food and serve whatever they would like to serve. So clearly the community is participating in a big way into this program.
You're hopeful that we will overcome our difficulty with the young people and that we will win and educate them?
I'm an optimist. I have been an optimist all my life, and I see no reason why this will not happen. It may take some time. It may take, I would say, more efforts required from every quarter.
We haven't got time. We have a window now.
Unfortunately, we don't have time, and that is where I think the governments of the day, the private sector, the corporates need to come forward in making every penny which can actually bring smiles to these children, which can actually bring good health to these children. यही गांव के रहने वाले हैं? तो कैसा लग रहा है जब बच्चे यहाँ पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं?
बहुत अच्छा लगा।
पहले कहाँ पढ़ते थे बच्चे आपके?
सरकारी स्कूल में गाँव में।
सरकारी में? तो वहाँ से क्यों निकाला आपने?
जी सुविधा देने लगी बच्चे में गाँव का नहीं आया जी। हाँ जी वृद्ध माँ कह रहे थे बहुत अच्छा।
मास्टर नहीं आता था वहाँ?
जी आए तो हाँ जी बड़ी ध्यान नहीं देते थे जी ज्यादा में।
ध्यान नहीं देते थे?
बच्चे कोई इधर खेल रहा है, कोई मट्टी के साथ खेल रहा है, कोई लड़ाई कर रहा है, कोई या जी बच्चा ना बोलने की भी तमीज सीखी जी और जी उन्हें सारे काम में की तमीज, पढ़ाई की भी तमीज है जी। पूरा स्कूल में तो जावेंगे जी, कपड़े बदलने की भी तमीज है जी, फिर दूसरे बदल का खाना मांगेंगे माँ बाप का जाएगा जी। और जी माना कहना नहीं आता अंग्रेजी में बच्चा मन पढ़ा या थारी गुड मॉर्निंग के बोला जी, थैंक यू करें जी जाएगा जी।
गरम कैसे रहता है ये सब?
गर्मी लेके आते हैं मैडम, ढक के वैसे अच्छी तरह यहाँ आने के टाइम भी दोबारा गर्म करके लाते हैं मैडम, सारा उसी टाइम बना के लाते हैं ना।
और कितनी देर लगती है ये सब बनाने में?
2-2.5 घंटे लग जाते हैं बच्चों का स्कूल लगने के बाद बनाना।
आपके बच्चे भी यहाँ पढ़ते हैं?
हाँ मैडम, एक लड़की।
The Bhartiya Foundation now runs more than 230 Satya Bharti schools in villages in northern India. These are schools that offer free primary education to children who would otherwise either not be in school or be forced to rely on government schools where teaching is irregular at best. One of the problems, and in fact possibly the biggest problem with rural education in India, is the unavailability of teachers who are sincere about teaching. The result is substandard education for the children that you see sitting behind me. So when they compete with urban children, even urban children educated in government schools for jobs, they are at a serious disadvantage. How do the Bharti schools deal with this problem?
In the government school, there is no accountability. So I think that is a big problem which I see. While the government spends a fortune, through the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan and through other programs, a lot of money gets spent. And what we did was we hired graduates who were sitting unemployed in this village or nearby villages. So we hired them, we trained them, and there is an ongoing teacher training program all through the year at Bharti Foundation, which is being done by the Bharti Foundation team itself. And clearly we are trying to upgrade the skill sets of the teachers. Every 3 to 4 months they are taken out of the classroom back into the training room to see what are their the capabilities, have they moved up than what it was earlier. So there is a complete measurement process, and then there is a program of further upgrading their skill sets. I mean, clearly I think two factors which have really motivated them. One, they were sitting unemployed. So overnight they got an employment, they started earning something for themselves, and they became earning hands. Two, to my mind, the respect which they now get in village, because they are teaching their own children of the village and nearby villages. So suddenly the respect within the community has gone up. And you'll be actually surprised and amazed. The girls who are teaching here, most of them are not married. And I was told by Vijay when he visited one of the schools in Amritsar, and the question he posed, he says, when you get married, what will happen? And the girls said, we've told our parents, find a boy in this village, or find a boy in a village where the Satya Bharti school exists, so that we can transfer from this place to the other place. So to me, I think that is the passion, that is the commitment which our teachers are showing.
आपको अच्छा लग रहा है इसलिए कि आपको ऐसा महसूस हो रहा है कि आप समाज सेवा कर रही हैं?
मैम दोनों ही है, खुद भी अच्छा लगता है क्योंकि जब तक एक इंसान अंदर से खुश नहीं है तो वो फिर समाज सेवा भी नहीं कर पाएगा, क्योंकि अंदर से हमें बेटर फील हो रहा है, तभी हम खुश होकर एक अच्छा कार्य कर रहे हैं। जो सर लोगों ने मतलब यहाँ पे जो चलाया है कि जो अंडर प्रिविलेज बच्चे हैं उनको अच्छी एजुकेशन देना, कैसे उनको प्रैक्टिकल मतलब वर्क करके कुछ अच्छा प्रोसीजर दिया है तो
What the Bharti Foundation's intervention in primary education has proved is the remarkable change that can be brought about by simply improving the quality of village schools. It has also proved that there is a great deal that can be achieved through private-public participation, much more than can be achieved by government trying to provide quality education on its own.
I would say that initiatives like the Bharti Foundation will act as a catalyst, for sure. The education programs which we are doing here will certainly put pressure on the government school system to improve themselves. Rajasthan, 49 existing government primary schools were handed over to us last April 2008. We started running them in the Amer and Neemrana district area. Today, the government wants us to pick up probably 1,000 plus schools because they have seen the difference these 49 schools have made. There was no drinking water, today we have drinking water in every school. There was no electricity today, I think barring a few schools which will happen just in the next couple of months or so, we brought power to the school campuses. And suddenly I see the government schools are now renovating their buildings. They are painting, sprucing it up. The teachers are coming in the morning. It has started happening. The point is, will it happen in a village where Satya Bharti school does not exist? That is where the government need to put their best foot forward.
The state governments. So the onus is on the state governments.
I would say the central, the state, I think we'll have to see from end to end, in the entire bandwidth.
Do you think there should be a national policy that includes private, the idea that you have a private, public, etc.? Do you think we need to relook at education at the national level?
Absolutely, yes. I would say certainly. And to my mind, if I go back, I think 2 or 3 years ago when Mr. Chidambaram, the then finance minister, had announced setting up 6,000 schools in every block, and out of that 2,500 schools were for the first time talked about a public-private partnership model. Those discussions are still going on. I only wish that they can be put on a fast track.
Talking and get.
Yeah, we should put it on a fast track. Invite the private sector. And to my mind, while the government today, what does government do? They give land, they put money on the building, they bring teachers, they bring salaries, they give midday meal, they do everything. Books, uniform, but ultimately somewhere in the delivery system, the rupee does not reach the last mile and it does not get utilized effectively.
There is a view that one reason why rural schools have remained in such bad shape is because the people who regulate them usually sit in state capitals many miles away. The school inspectors are often lowly officials without the resources even to pay for transport to remote villages and without the sensibility or commitment to ensure that the schools are running properly. One solution is for village panchayats to be given charge of running the schools. Do you think that the delivery system would work better in education if schools were controlled by the panchayat instead of the state government?
I would say certainly yes. That is my own personal view, because the panchayat is accountable to the community in the village. They have to stand for their local elections. They need to provide the education or sanitation or hygiene to the village, to the community at large. And I believe if the money can flow directly into the panchayat system, it will be better than what it is today. But we must also realize that panchayat is again going to just give the money to the institute. The teachers need to be made accountable. Whether it's the children coming to school, whether it is the exam, the results which come out, and that is where I believe the private sector can play a huge role.
How?
Yeah, like this is
Like
here. I mean, you see, we got land from the panchayat. The entire thing is being taken care of Bharti Foundation. The other school model which I talked about is going to be a true public-private partnership model, where the land is going to be given by them. There's a 50% capital outlay which the government gives, and also let me tell you, there will be no, and I'm saying in capital no, interference from the government in running those other schools. Private sector will have full freedom and flexibility. But I must also add here, what different are we going to do in the senior secondary schools? And this is a thought which came to my mind. while traveling on the train from Delhi to Ludhiana, that if we can couple the senior secondary education with vocational training, the dropout, which is as high from 40 to 70% state to state, may come down. Because today what happens when the children are, they are in class 6, 7, parents pull them out for menial jobs and they see them as earning hands. I believe if we can, through vocational skills training, give at least one skill to every child, girl or boy, after class 12 the child becomes employable.
Are you doing that? Is Bharti doing that already?
Yeah. No. In the schools which will start now, the senior secondary schools.
In the secondary school.
So all my senior secondary schools will have vocational training.
So you haven't got secondary schools yet?
Not yet. So in the next 2 years, there's a build out. That's why I said phase 1, 230 odd schools is a pause and consolidation of the primary program which we are doing, and then build senior secondary schools on top of this.
It's the view of many experts that India has remained a poor and backward country because of a lack of investment in human capital, which in fact means a lack of investment in the social sector, in healthcare, in public education. Is this something that can be rectified, and what role can the corporate sector play to make up for the absence of investment from government, and what does the Bharti Foundation plan to do about it? Is it going to become a Bill Gates type foundation, or is it going to remain a small intervention in corporate social responsibility, as has been the record of most other Indian companies? What is it in India that the corporate sector has remained away from philanthropy?
Well, I think I would say in the last decade and a half, I have seen the scenario changing in India as well. There are many more corporates who are coming forward, getting into different programs, be it health, be it education, be it an AIDS program, or so on and so forth. Is it at the same level as we see in the developed or the Western world? I think the answer is no. A lot needs to be done. And I can only say that many more corporates, many more industries, many more industrialists, and I would say even going beyond that, every citizen of this country who has achieved something in life should contribute back to the society.
Yes, absolutely, but you're in a much better position, you guys, because you have a lot of money. So something like the Bharti Foundation, why can't it become as big as a Bill Gates Foundation? You're not even hit by the recession, you guys.
Well, one day it will happen. I mean, it's not, we are only looking at the primary schools here today. If you see the other educational initiatives which we have done, setting up the Bharti School of Telecom Technology and Management at IIT Delhi, which is providing MTech, MBA, PhD and MS research programs.
So you think it will grow into a big foundation that would do many other things?
It will. That's our vision, and the vision is to help the underprivileged children and the youth of this country to realize their potential in any which way. I mean, I can share with you, today we have 220 odd Bharti scholars all across the country in the management, engineering, agriculture program, where we are paying fees for their entire program, whether it's a 2-year program, 3-year or a 4-year program. And not only that, those children are also being mentored by the management team at Bharti. And we have got very encouraging feedback from all these scholars.
In the future, where do you see it going, the foundation?
Well, the foundation will primarily be focused on education. There is much to do. But the matter of fact is, you want to make that rupee walk a little more further. You want to see that you make a positive impact on society. Girls are educated. They start taking their decisions. They start looking at their own health, the health of their children. So there's a multiplier effect with education.